show, and like all across the radio, 24/7, all over the world. Oracle Talk Radio Network. So we'll be going live here with Mike in a minute or two. But if you don't mind, I'll read the little bio that we have.
Go for it.
All right. So your old pal Mike was first introduced to the flat Earth subject matter in 2017 and has been studying the subject ever since. He runs the Flat Earth Archive page on Facebook, which he started in 2018, that has a variety of videos, including experiments and observations demonstrating the absence of the globe model Earth's alleged curvature, errors within the modern heliocentric model, and examples of space agency fails and fraud. So we're all about observing fails and fraud. That's what we do here. We give a platform to everyone who wants to talk about it. And it's great discussion. Let's just have a good conversation about flat Earth theory and calling people out for their fails and frauds, because I think that's something we all agree on.
Definitely.
Flat Earth. I've seen this rise in popularity, right, on Facebook first, and then Instagram, TikTok, and that sort of thing. And there we go. We got you now.
But now we got you. Can I read something? Can I read something?
Can.
Okay. Google, is the world flat, right? And according to Google, okay, Cindy Simpson, good to see you, hon. No, the world is not flat. The idea that the Earth is flat is archaic.
Archaic, yeah.
And scientifically disproven concept. Modern beliefs in a flat Earth are not based on scientific knowledge and are considered a form of science denial by experts. The idea that the Earth is flat was once held by many ancient cultures, including those in the ancient Near East. However, the scientific consensus is that the Earth is roughly spherical. It has consensus based on multiple lines of evidence that have been confirmed over more than 2,000 years. Just had to put that out there, dude.
So that's where we'll start off, Mike. That's the official. Okay, Google said it, so that's the that's the gospel. So we'll start there. I mean, we've all learned in school about the flat Earth model and the geocentric and heliocentric and things like that. Let's start there. Where what have you learned in your pursuit of knowledge?
Well, I was never taught anything other than heliocentrism in public school, so that was the only model I was exposed to. I didn't come across this information until 2017, and it was the abundance of independent experimentation that really brought me around to realizing that the globe model Earth doesn't exist. Its curvature is absent. It can be proven to be absent just over and over, example after example. I did bring a presentation to share with you guys today, if I'm able to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me see if here. So first I'm going to show a little clip of some because I would like scale. And so this is going to be from like heliocentric globe position. So this isn't from my position. This is what globe people have to say. So let me share here.
Can you explain heliocentric to people who might not know what you're talking about?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, heliocentric is the model that we've all been taught in school, where the sun is at the center of the solar system and all the planets orbit around the sun. In the history, they always thought the sun was still, but in modern heliocentrism, they say that the sun's moving over 500,000 miles an hour around the galactic center of the Milky Way, basically. But all right, you guys see my screen there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just hear, because I want you to hear the scale of how easily the Earth's curvature can be detected. So we're going to listen to a few sources here.
The Earth horizon model is. And this blue stuff is a boat. Well, it's like a boat. Anyway. Why? The ships sail away. They don't disappear all at once. Now, first, the bottom will disappear. See, the bottom of the ship is gone. Now we can see midway up, and then the whole thing disappears. Now, ships came back. They didn't fall off the table. So people realize that the world is curved. I mean, it's a big curve, but it's curved. So the process of testing claims, what we call science.
It's so clearly obvious that the world, we see when ships leave the harbour, you can see as they gradually disappear disappear below the horizon.
One of the things you can see yourself with a pair of binoculars is if you go out to a lake and there are boats on that lake. The farther away a boat is, the more the bottom of the boat will disappear, and you'll basically just see the mast. As a boat goes farther and farther away, the last thing you will see is the very top of the mast of that boat. And that's because the boat is actually going over the that's curved. And that means that as it goes farther and farther away, you see less and less of the bottom of it and more of the top of that. You can see that with binoculars, by an ocean, by a lake. It's really easy. That wouldn't happen if the Earth were flat.
All right. So that gives you an idea right there as far as the scale of the Earth. And they're correct. If the globe model Earth is true, then just in a few miles, you should be able to see boats disappear over the curve. I want to give you some figures here real quick. In 3 miles, 6 feet of drop should be expected. In 7 miles, 32 feet of drop should be expected. In 10 miles, 66 feet of drop should be expected. 20 miles is 266 feet. 30 miles is 600 feet. 50 miles is over 1,600 feet of drop that should exist on the globe model Earth. Now, you might be wondering how I came up with those figures, and it's really simple. All you have to do is pull up an Earth curvature calculator, and it'll give us the rate of drop. You can even enter in the observer height, which will tell you how much of a target should be hidden from the observation height. A disclaimer I want to give is that there are a lot of channels out there dedicated to allegedly debunking flat Earth related content. They like to claim that these calculations aren't accurate for 2 primary reasons. The first is that they claim the calculation being used isn't accurate because the formula being used is for a parabola and not a sphere. What they won't tell you and choose to ignore is that a portion of a sphere is a parabola. The formula being used in these calculators is an accurate linear point A to point B calculation for anything at a distance of 1,000 miles or less. Beyond 1,000 miles, it loses its accuracy, but as we saw with the boat example, you don't need examples beyond 1,000 miles to demonstrate the globe model Earth's alleged curvature. So when they say it's not an accurate calculation and formula, they are telling a half-truth, because it is an accurate formula up to 1,000 miles because a portion of a sphere is a parabola. Also, flat earthers didn't create the variety of Earth curvature calculators that can be searched for online. Why would non-flat earthers create calculators specifically designed for the sole purpose of calculating the globe model Earth's curvature and all use an incorrect formula? The answer is they didn't, because it is an accurate linear formula for up to 1,000 miles. So if someone tells you otherwise, they're either lying or ignorantly parroting incorrect information. The other excuse they use is that these calculations don't account for refraction. So they like to refer to specific calculators where you can add in a formula for refraction. But again, this is disingenuous to assume that a formula exists that can accurately portray weather conditions, which constantly vary day by day and even moment by moment. Using the raw calculation like I used for rate of drop is perfectly sufficient, and it isn't nearly as subjective as a formula for alleged refraction. So that's kind of the intro to give the scale so that we know what we're dealing with, because I have a variety of examples that should be able to prove to everybody that the globe model Earth's curvature doesn't exist. And at the very least, it will get you questioning. So let me pull up that part of it. Anyone have any questions or anything?
Yeah.
So go ahead, Sean. You go first.
Okay, I was in the United States Navy, all right? And I was out at sea for 3 years and 3 months, okay? And if you're telling me that the Earth is flat, I wouldn't be here today because I would have fell off. That's simple. I'm not knocking you.
I don't need to tell you. I can show
I
you.
I do respect what you're doing.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I do respect that. But I would not be here. And I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. And for all the flat earth people that I have talked to on shows and stuff like that, I don't understand. Maybe you can prove to me why I'm still here and I didn't fall off the edge.
Gravity. I don't know. So you're saying sometimes believe it's a sphere. It's not like a ball, but it's more like a sphere, because they said, okay, let's get back into some conspiracies. Going back to Hitler. Okay. Now he thought there was something over there in Antarctica, and they say that's where it cliffs off, if you believe in flat Earth. Am I correct or am I wrong? Is that what he says?
Everything goes.
There's like
I'm sorry, it froze. I couldn't hear what.
No. Okay. I go back to conspiracies, and I've did some research on the flat Earth, and because I was going to write a book on it, but don't laugh. Okay, so the theory is going back to Hitler. He believed that it was. I truly believe Hitler believed it was flat, and he thought that Antarctica, that's where the edge was. And there was something beyond Antarctica that they have that treaty and still that you can't go over there because there's something there that they're hiding. Now, is that true? I mean, does that lead up to the flat Earth theory that there's something in Antarctica? Am I on the right track? Am I not communicating?
Yeah, well, the Antarctic Treaty absolutely exists. It's been around since 1961. It prohibits all independent exploration south of the 60th parallel. And you can't go beyond that point independently. Of course, you can take guided tours to Antarctica. But when it was instituted, 12 nations took part in that. Now we're up to 55 nations. And it's really interesting with all the chaos in the world, the alleged fighting amongst countries that, what would seem like an unimportant chunk of ice on the bottom of the ball would have a treaty that's been lasting, over half a century at this point. It is very suspect. At the least, the Hitler side of it, I really don't know anything.
You don't know about that. You should check it out. I'll send you a link for it because I did some research and it was very interesting. But it's like the ice wall, going back to the ice wall, there's something over there. Why would they why would they tell us that the Earth is round? But what do you think about this theory with it being a sphere? Like it's not. It's like a sphere.
I think you're meaning oval, Jenny.
No, not oval. It's a sphere.
Because the sphere is round.
Yeah.
It's not. No, it's like a it's flat and it's like a sphere.
Like a cylinder.
Cylinder, maybe.
That's it. Right
Okay.
there.
It's not round.
Yeah, no, I don't buy into that.
You don't buy that either, because I kind of think that might be. I don't know.
No, well, so what I could show you. Well, there's a couple things. I prepared a list of experiments and observations that can prove that the globe model Earth's curvature isn't there. There's a lot of whys that come with this subject matter, right? But what I was hoping really to do tonight is establish that the curvature doesn't exist, because there's a lot of, and I don't mind going into those. I'd love to dive into a lot of those whys and everything. But maybe, if you give me an opportunity to kind of show you a series of examples that can show you that the curvature it's not there. It simply just doesn't exist.
It's not curved. Okay, and when you say it's flat, are we talking like a piece of paper flat? Like the Earth?
Yeah, let me show you some common maps, okay? I was going to save this because I figured you guys would ask me about the seasons at some point, how the seasons work on flat Earth. And I was going to kind of share this graphic with that part, but let me pull it up real quick here again. So we're going to open this up just to give you an idea of a common flat Earth model and the ones that I lean towards. I would like to say that none of them, I don't adhere to a specific model at this point because I just feel like there's too many unknowns that can't answer at this point. Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah, we see it down.
I don't.
Okay.
Here, I'll move it up. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Is it so it changes? Okay. So this would be a common modern rendition of it called the azimuthal equidistant projection. And it'll tell you in this description that, like it says, all points on the map are proportionally correct distances from the center point, and all points on the map are the correct azimuth from the center point. So this is well acknowledged as far as a map goes. What's interesting about this is the World Meteorological Organization uses this map. The International Maritime Organization uses this map. The World Health Organization uses this map. And also the UN flag uses this map. And if you want to go back even further than that, we can look at 1945. There's a war strategy map that uses that same layout. We can look all the way back to 1892, which is a map by Alexander Gleason, which he created in 1892 that has the identical layout. And then we can go all the way back to the 1500s. This is a map from 1587, long before NASA, long before this modern debate, showing the identical layout. So when I'm talking about these things, those are generally what I'm talking about. What's beyond that is hard for me to say because, like we already referenced, the Antarctic Treaty prevents independent exploration beyond the 60th south parallel. So those are things that we really don't have access to. But as far as those maps you just saw, I mean, that's a whole variety of legit institutions going all the way back to the 1500s using the identical layout.
Yeah.
The reason I was pull that up is because you can see how the sun confirms this map. I'm going to open this up real quick here and do share screen real quick, and I'll show you with examples from the sun. And this is how the seasons operate on a flat Earth model, because you might wonder how they operate. Well, this will give you the idea. So this shows you one of those maps. It's showing you the sun circumnavigate with the analemma
let me
illustrated
get it
up
up there. There we go.
Oops. Let me go back to that one. Yeah, so that's the sun circumnavigating with the analemma on it. It's going to show you further in this video. You're going to see, should cut right here. See, this is how the sun operates during the seasons. It starts in the center near the Tropic of Cancer, and it moves outwards towards the equator, and then ultimately out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then moves back in. And that's how you get more heat for the northern hemisphere in the summer and less heat during the winter. This little graphic, let me go right back to that guy. This little graphic shows you the sun also, to create that analemma, it changes in altitude. It's at its highest altitude around the Tropic of Cancer, and then you'll see it move all the way out and lower in altitude when it gets to the Tropic of Capricorn. And this is how the sun actually operates. This is time-lapse demonstrating that. So you can get a view from the Arctic and Antarctic, and you can see the sun arching and curving towards and away from the viewer. So this is time-lapse footage demonstrating that right here. On this next clip, you can actually see the position on the map as the sun is as the sun's moving, and it's showing you winter on the left and summer on the right from the same position when the sun is either further or closer. Same thing right here. You have some more time lapse just showing you the movement of the sun. This is from near the north. Yeah. So it's near the Arctic, and you can watch the sun raising and lowering. This is when it's at the Tropic of Cancer, so it's very, very close. So we can demonstrate that these maps are real and accurate just by looking at footage of the sun. And when you talked about circumnavigation, when you look at those maps, that's the same way circumnavigation operates. When you go east to west, it's circular because the compass is always facing the north. So as you're following that compass, and that compass is keeping a northbound heading, you're going circular, either east or west. That's why you can leave from one position and return all the way back around to where you came from. As far as falling off the Earth, I don't know if that's possible. I tend to lean towards a biblical cosmology model wherein the firmament has us enclosed and there are waters above the firmament, just like the book of Genesis states. So the falling off the Earth is more like a psyop to ridicule a flat Earth perspective, like when you see...
I'm not ridiculing you, dude. I'm just...
Well, gravity would keep you on, right?
Well, if there's no way to fall off, if it's blocked in, then you wouldn't,
So you're
you can
saying
be sailing,
someone blocked it in that you can't fall off.
yeah, you could be sailing for forever on the water, and you know what I mean, unless you had a pinpoint, you wouldn't know exactly where you were at. But so Mike, what you were saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, is you're here to disprove the curvature, and what I like is you're not making up all of this other stuff about I know why it is. You're just saying I'm here to disprove the curvature, and everything you have showed so far has made sense. It's you have everything. You have a nice little tight package right there of everything, with models and things like that. So hats off to you for that research. One of the people in our chat just now, Mystic, this is Nicole. So she, what is your idea? Are the rest of the planets flat, or is it just ours?
Well, I don't believe in other planets. I believe that there are celestial bodies above us. I believe that the 8 objects that we refer to as planets are what the Book of Enoch refers to as the wandering stars. And then there are other celestial bodies that rotate around us as well up above. So I don't believe they're planets. As far as their shape, they're obviously spherical, or maybe not spherical, but they're at very least appear to be round. But we don't have access to these things. I don't believe or trust the modern space agencies. I think there's more than enough to show that we didn't go to the moon, that I have videos on my Flat Earth Archive page of harnesses being used, CGI glitches, all the rest. I mean, just if anyone can think that they were live streaming video footage with 1960s technology from an orbiting body allegedly 250,000 miles away, you're just not thinking. If you think they landed on the moon first try with a computing system that had less power than the original Game Boy, you're not properly thinking about these things. So I don't. Yeah. So
it's like a pizza.
Yeah, as far as we can tell so far,
She's Italian, Mike.
Well, I'm just trying to get an idea. Like it's like a pizza. It's not like.
Well, that's not too bad of an analogy if you think about it, where the crust would be the ice wall. You know what I mean? And then we're all toppings. Yeah. That's not a terrible analogy.
Now, there are those who believe there are other lands further beyond the
I've seen some of those maps too. Yeah.
So again, it's unverifiable to me. So I just take it in, I learn about it, but I can't say whether that's true or not, obviously. So
why don't we play some of these videos so we can?
Yeah, I've got a couple of videos here. We'll pick your brain on them.
Yeah. So I got a presentation that should lay out for you pretty clearly that the curvature does not exist. It should make it fairly concrete. So let me pull it up right here. Sure. Is it working now? See something that says laser experiment?
There it goes.
There it is.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through a little bit of a lengthy list, but I'm gonna try to keep it pretty brief as I can. So this is one of the early examples, and all this stuff can be viewed in full on my Flat Earth Archive page on Facebook. But for the sake of brevity, we're obviously not going to watch through a whole load of experiments. So I'm just going to touch on them. This is one of the earliest experiments I saw. This was put out by a gentleman who took his snowmobile. He used GPS positioning. He acquired a high-power laser because he wanted to test these things for himself. He went out on a frozen lake to measure 7.5 miles with his laser. Found the laser coming straight across at him, where in 37 feet of drop should have been present, which isn't possible on the globe. Maybe we went too far. There's also a 20 experiment by a husband and wife, wherein they shine a laser, like I said, 21 miles over a body of water, wherein 284 feet of drop should exist on the globe model Earth, yet it wasn't there. This experiment's wonderful because it uses two lasers. You're going to see a little glimpse here. One is at a distance of 14 miles and the other is at a distance of 23 miles. And again, there's, I forgot the exact figures in there. That is massive amount of drop that should be present. And the crazy part is you can see both those lights on a level plane. So even if someone wanted to claim refraction is causing this, it's really not possible because you have two different sources from two different locations at two different distances that are still level. This right here is the greatest series of laser experiments ever conducted at this point. So basically, these experiments began in 2016, started releasing their findings in 2021. They conducted a variety of experiment locations under a variety of weather conditions, accounted for humidity and expected rates of refraction, and ultimately produced a $20,000 GPS guided laser system to test the Earth's convexity. There isn't a more comprehensive and detailed experiment in existence using high-powered lasers to test the convexity of the Earth's surface than this series of experiments put out by FE Corps. Nothing beats it up to this point. This is an early example, just using distance footage. This is Toronto from 31 miles away. And in 30 miles, 600 feet of drop should exist. Yet you can see every building of Toronto along that horizon line. Not only that, when he pans out, you can see that the buildings, left to right aren't curving either. And there are tons of miles from left to right upon that horizon. And again, over 600 feet of drop should be present. This is 30 miles away, that footage. This is one of the early examples I saw. People have done this with Chicago, 40 miles away as well. We also have infrared footage. So this is going to show you a couple locations 70 miles away and 120 miles away. There should be 3,267 feet of drop in 70 miles. This is from Malibu, California, by the way. And there should be 9,600 feet of drop in 120 miles. It's all documented. This is some high altitude red footage. So you're going to see here, there's hundreds of miles in this footage right here. It'll start for me. There we go. There are hundreds of miles in view. Like a 4 and 100 miles, 6,600 feet of drop should be present. 200 miles, 26,000 feet of drop should exist. In 500 miles, 166,000 feet of drop should be present. But everything in the background near the horizon is higher than the objects in the foreground, which is the opposite of what a sphere should be doing.
I don't know.
And if
Okay.
all that
I
isn't
can't
good
see
enough, this high-altitude weather balloon footage, this is at 100. You guys can't see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it.
You guys see it?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, this is weather balloon footage at 100,000 feet. And the camera's not using a GoPro like wide angle lens, so there's no artificial curvature, because you can look up other weather balloon examples.
Yeah, there's no
you know,
curvature.
so this is physically impossible on a spheroid. That's alleged to be less than 8,000 miles in diameter. The reality of a spherical surface is that the horizon should at an increasing rate and become more and more pronounced the further you go. Yet here we are with hundreds, if not over 1,000 miles in view, and yet the horizon in the background is higher than everything in the foreground, which would be expected if we were on a level plane, not a sphere. This view is mathematically impossible when compared to the dimensions and expected rate of drop required by the globe model Earth. And if people want non-visual examples, this is the Navy's railgun. Sorry. Oh, I was going to say, this is the Navy's railgun, which shoots a projectile using electromagnetic propulsion at 7 times the speed of sound in a linear fashion and can hit 100 nautical miles away, which should be impossible on the globe. This is an 830-mile world record radio wave transmission, 2023.
No, I'm
using
starting to really think
frequencies
this is
ranging
right.
from 860 to 930 megahertz.
Okay, let me just stop you right
Which
there.
are ul-
Why
these are
would they
ultra-high
tell us
frequencies
it's
from
round?
Yeah. So, let me dive into that. I'll close this up. But you can see what I'm saying, right? I have a couple more.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can leave off there if you
I
want.
can see what you're saying. I just don't understand. Which is the one? Who said that the Earth was flat? Who was it? Columbus? Which one was that? Come on. Who originally said the Earth was flat?
No, Columbus.
Which one was it?
Well,
They told him no,
honestly,
it wasn't.
Well, I'm not sure on the Columbus thing, but if you look throughout all like Babylonian cosmology, Mayan cosmology, Egyptian cosmology, almost all ancient cosmology is based on a cosmology where the Earth is stationary and the celestial bodies are moving above us. I know that it was read in the beginning that for allegedly 2,000 years it's been proven that the Earth is a globe. But when they're saying that, they're being very dishonest, because they're literally citing two Greek mathematicians, one being Eratosthenes and one being Pythagoras. And those guys are a minority when it comes to the world perspective on cosmology.
I want to ask
Mike, I'd like to get to you. Now, at the beginning, you said, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. All right.
Yeah.
And just want you to know that I'm not knocking you, and I appreciate your stuff into this. Now, you said at the beginning that you go out 23 miles, right? So I decide to take my boat and go 23 miles, and there's no drop. Okay. Do I have to go another 23 miles to find a drop?
Well, the drop is essentially, the calculation is 8 inches per mile squared is the rough calculation. So the rate of drop should be increasing exponentially every mile that you move. That's why the people in the beginning were saying just a few miles out you can see a boat disappear over the curve, and that's true, because just a few miles you're losing 30-70 feet of drop, so
Sean,
what's that, Jen?
I kind of,
Well,
my sixth sense telling
I'm
me
not knocking
that it's
anybody
here.
here, Jen. It's just
There's no curvature. It's flat.
I believe. Now, see me. I believe there's a curvature. Okay, and I will always believe it's a curvature. And what I like about you, Mike, is that you're not egotistical, and I'm being honest with you, because me and Jenny had another dude on, and we could not get a word in, because he just kept talking.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let us ask a question. And I admire that about you. You don't have an ego. But and God bless you for studying all this stuff, but you'll never change my mind. There is a curvature on that.
I understand, but observable reality, I just can't fight. I don't. I'm not of the perspective. I'm just after truth, basically.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter to me whether it's a sphere or it's flat. But the implications, once you do realize that it's a flat enclosed system, really points to the one who created everything. And for those people out there that do trust in the Bible, that do trust in the scriptures, that believe in the book of Genesis, the easiest way to know from the scriptures that heliocentrism is a false model is to look at when the stars were created. God says in the very beginning that he created the stars and other celestial bodies on the fourth day after he created the earth. And if you believe in modern heliocentrism, there's a major contradiction there because they claim that many celestial bodies were created far prior to the earth. So, and that's not even going into when Joshua said the sun, prayed for the sun to stand still.
You're listening to the
What was
Oh,
that?
commercial there?
Oh shit!
What was
Wow.
that?
What
I
my
didn't
ass.
do it.
What my
Yeah,
ass.
So,
Those goofy monsters.
And I'm not even going to get into the Bible part of it because Jenny knows how I feel about the Bible, and so I have to take that with a grain of salt. What I read in the Bible, and I'm not going to go further. This isn't my show. So
Let's
All right.
play some of the videos that our intern brought. It goes to music.
Okay.
Possessed. Is it ghost in here, Tom?
I know. It's fun.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Totally haunted.
Haunted software.
I told her.
Oh, I'm back in my old studio, Sean. Remember all the weird stuff that happened in here?
Yes, I do remember.
It's happening again. Go ahead and play some of those videos. Yes, it is haunted. I'll tell you a story before we leave. Which one do we want to do, Sean? Tom?
I'll go ahead and do the first one.
Okay.
Believe that this is the closest depiction of what the Earth actually looks like. As we all know or should know, we live in an enclosed system. Therefore, there is an ice wall surrounding this entire planetary system, in which we are in the middle of this enclosed system. And outer space is not real the way they described it and showed y'all. Outer space is not actually above us and out of this planetary system. Outer space would be this outer layer that is outside of our ice wall here in the middle. Extraterrestrials or aliens do not come from above outer space. Extraterrestrials come from beyond the ice wall.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah, let's get a
so
reaction on that one.
that was kind of what I was talking about, where there are people within the movement that believe that there are lands beyond. Because if you looked at his image, that central circle would have been the equivalent of all those maps I showed you, the one that the UN flag uses and everything. And some people do believe that there are expansive, like a massive expanse of land further beyond the walls of Antarctica. I'm not there yet personally. I side with I fall on the side of scripture when it talks about the sun's circuit, and it talks about how there's nowhere that its heat doesn't reach. So to me, that kind of nullifies, I think there could be some land past the 60th south parallel, but not to the extent that image showed. But I don't know. Okay. So I don't know.
It's fun to speculate about, and also, I must have slipped my mind about this, but I heard you mention the Book of Enoch, and I got a clap for you because I do love that.
I do
and
too.
Anunnaki and Nibiru, and give me all of that Mesopotamia, history, really, Forbidden Book of the Bible, and all of that, because there have been a lot of cover-ups in the Bible, and what you know of the Bible now is not what was originally written. You know what I mean? Back in the day. So I will, commend you on that, because you and again, what Sean said, you don't have an ego. You're not coming on here saying I know and you don't. So I do got to commend you on all of that, and you are learned, and so I appreciate the time and everything you had with it. I would love to have you on again for because we could make a whole show on the Book of Enoch and what things
I
have
would
been
like that.
pulled,
I don't know nothing about it.
from there.
There's a lot of parts
I
of the
do-
Bible they took out.
Yeah, there are, but what I said, when you said, you're not there yet on what's out there, I agree, because, you got to walk before you can run, right? And the step that you're on, that you're doing, is the curvature. You can get to the other points once, that has come about. My question and what I'm thinking, and I'll give you my answer first before you, but, why is this taught? Why are we taught this way? You know what I mean? And there could be a bunch of different reasons, but for me, I think there's some sort of intelligent design in leading us away from truth, and enlightenment is truth. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. The further we stray from the truth, the more we don't know, and the more we don't know, the more outside factors can appeal or
Why,
harm
Tom?
us.
Why?
I just think that
Like,
could
why
be why.
are they hiding it from us?
What?
Why don't they want us to know the truth about something as simple as that?
Well, when you get away from learning the truth and what's actually out there, you keep people confused, and when you keep people in a state of confusion, you don't have people communicating and getting our power up. You know what I mean? Being enlightened by talking to everybody. So when you have that, and you don't even know the simple thing of is the Earth round or flat, and you have people disagreeing with each other, you're not even getting out of the starting gate before you can get enlightened at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. The Earth is spinning.
All right,
Flat
let me
Earth
go ahead.
spinning.
I got you. Oh, sorry.
Actually, the best argument I've ever seen for flat Earth. I'm serious, and I say this as someone, I studied physics for 2 years, and I have an engineering degree. I'm genuinely impressed by this argument. I don't know why it stuck out to me so much. I never give a fucking shit about flat Earth, but like,
Oh my!
it's kind of beautiful. Like, I don't know.
I didn't. Wow.
I didn't really understand that one too well, I guess.
No.
I didn't understand what the point was.
The point was the Earth seems round to people because it's spinning top over top over.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I believe it's stationary. There's no movement. When you guys talk about gravity, what holds everything down? It's because of electromagnetic forces. When you look at the ground, that's why they call it grounding, because there's basically a negative zero charge. The higher you raise into the atmosphere, it increases in voltage. And when you look at matter, all matter has either a positive, negative, or neutral charge to it. So when we're talking about things like density and buoyancy and what determines up and down, well, the determination of up and down is essentially the electromagnetic pole that is drawn on us. And we see these effects even on things like bumblebees. Bumblebees are aerodynamically, it's impossible for them to fly.
Yeah,
but it's actually a vibration that they make within their larynx that gives them the ability to essentially create almost like an electromagnetic bubble that allows them to essentially hover. So when we're talking about so when we're talking about gravity, they need gravity to work with the ball. They need an explanation for how something is spinning 1,000 miles an hour at its equator, going almost over 60,000 miles an hour around the sun, following a sun that's going 500,000 miles an hour. So they need this invisible force that's drawing everything towards the center of these objects of mass. But when you actually study these things, the negative GMM over R squared, which is the formula, it's not consistent when you go down to a biological level or you go way up to a celestial level. It doesn't work. So what really moves everything around is the electromagnetic nature of the world we live in. So gravity is just it's a fairy tale for adults. It works great on paper. It works great in theoretical physics, but when you compare it to observable reality, it's just nonsensical. So
yeah, and real quick before I get to the next video, that's what a lot of people think in my travels of UFO research is their anti-gravity technology is essentially just a bubble, and they can move wherever they want inside that bubble and not have to create thrust or how we generally see it as getting out of gravity. So I have heard that, especially with USOs. We can't build anything half as good as that can move through the water the way you see some of these videos and things like that. It just moves the water around, and they're in like a little pocket. So I just, I have heard of that one too.
So that firmament or that silhouette, that little looks like there used to be a movie called The Dome.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's around. Maybe that's what we're seeing, and it's not really that. It's like the Earth is flat, and there's just that dome-ish look to it.
Yeah,
that could be it.
I think that's a little bit what you were talking about, and that could be another answer to the what's on the other side of the ice wall. Some have claimed, we saw the video that said that there's other lands out there. Well, to protect a secret, it could just be a simple meeting point of where the ice wall and the curvature is. And if that is it, that's reason enough to protect and not let anybody get there, because then there's the secret. It's blown. You know what I mean? Because why is this connected down into that?
I think you should go on an expedition to the Antarctica.
That's probably
let's start a GoFundMe for me to go to Antarctica and see what the hell happens.
I tell you what, Tom, if I hit the lottery, dude, I will pay your way. Working with the other place I'm with, I mean, that guy who owns that station is becoming very good friends with Elon Musk. So maybe he would kind of pay for.
Why don't we write a letter to Leon?
Yeah, ask
Yeah.
Elon about it, man. He might do something about it. But
You go
here's
to
the
Tom in the
deal.
Antarctic. It's cold.
But
Back to
oh
you.
yeah, absolutely. But so maybe you haven't changed my mind yet. It's still circular. But when I was in the Navy, I went around and hit all the 7 seas. Okay, and I did not see an ice wall. Did
Well,
not.
Well,
Did you
anyone can Google Antarctic ice wall, and the reality is, you would agree that Antarctica is primarily ice, correct?
Yeah,
Well, did you know it's
but
also
you can go. But you know that submarines go up into the Antarctic, don't you?
Yeah.
And
There's
they break
zombies
the ice when they come up.
Yeah, but here's my point: is that we know that it's ice, but did you also know that it has the highest overall elevation of every continent on Earth? So theoretically, if it were the barrier holding the oceans in, like the edge of a bathtub for that matter, it makes perfect sense. It has higher elevation than every other continent on Earth. So it literally is ice, and it's literally taller than every other continent. So if we don't want to call it an ice wall, that's fine, but it's clearly a very tall chunk of ice in the south. So at the very least.
At the very least, we can say an ice shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the
All right,
wall.
let's
I'm
get
going
to
to
this
the
last
wall.
video
The
here.
zombies are
Proofs
everywhere,
Earth
the,
is not a
Game of
spinning
Thrones.
ball by Eric Dubé. 1. The horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon over 20 plus miles high. Only NASA and other government space agencies show curvature in their fake CGI photos and videos. 2. The horizon always rises to the eye level of the observer as altitude is gained, so you never have to look down to see it. If Earth were in fact a globe, no matter how large, as you ascended, the horizon would stay fixed, and the observer or camera would have to tilt, looking down further and further to see it. 3. The natural physics of water is to find and maintain its level. If Earth were a giant sphere, tilted, wobbling, and hurtling through infinite space, then truly flat, consistently level surfaces would not exist here. But since Earth is in fact an extended flat plane, this fundamental physical property of fluids, finding and remaining level, is consistent with experience and common sense.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Everything that was said there. You know, you would have to see. That's the biggest killer right there. The easiest one to see. I grew up by the beach, and I can be standing on a hill in Dana Point where I live, and I can see trees and houses in front of me that are at a higher elevation than the ocean, but still they're lower from my perspective than the horizon. And that's the exact opposite of what should be happening on a sphere. The horizon should be continually dropping away from you. It should be impossible that houses and trees that are up on hills higher than the ocean are still lower than the horizon line way off in the distance. So I agree with everything that was said in that video. That was Eric Dubé, by the way. I've heard some of his stuff.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was great having you on the show tonight. I kind of think it's a. I do.
Say it, Ted.
Go ahead and say it, Jenny. You're allowed to. It's all right.
I'm a flat.
See, truth wins.
Yeah. Mikey. No, Mike, you brought some very good points, and I'm very, very happy with all of the evidence you brought and to back up and to have a discussion with us for the last hour, man. Thank you again, and we'll return an invite for Enoch. All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you ever want to
tell everybody where you're at, and all of that, where they can
find you.
Yeah, the best place to find my content would be on the Flat Earth Archive page on Facebook, but I also have stuff on Rumble, which is under Flat Earth Archive, and also on BitChute, which is under various vids, I believe. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on with you guys, and I really appreciate your inviting spirit here today and just hearing me out. And also a good one, if you ever want to cover it and have me on, I can do a good little setup on space agency fraud. So feel free to have a breakdown on that sometime
that
too.
would be great, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Mike.
Thank you.
That was good. I like
It was good. I'm glad.
It was good. I enjoyed what he had to say about guys.
No, come on, Sean. You know you're a flat earther. You're just pretending.
No, I'm not, man.
No, but
No
I
way.
mean, but Sean's sticking to his guns, and they had a good discussion. Both came with good points. And no, I like that guy. I've been wary of flat earthers. You know what I mean? They seem very stick to it, but no, he came, he had a discussion, and he had good points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking that. Yeah, he did. He had a lot of good points on that.
I'm a flat earther.
Well, I'm glad you are, Jen.
Sorry, I don't think it's round
It will never,
ball.
Jen, even though you're a flat earther now, I'm not going to judge you on that, and we're not going to become friends no more. All right? You're still my friend, and I believe it, and I respect it, and that's it. I'm just telling you that I am sticking to my guns.
I'm trying to figure out which one of those guys, which historian person from history said that the Earth was flat.
Who was the other dude that sailed? There was Columbus, and there was somebody else. Galileo?
Was it which one said it? One of them said it, and he proved that the Earth wasn't flat. Somebody said it was flat. Columbus proved that it wasn't flat. I forget. It's another story, another time.
You have Da Vinci, you have Galileo, and you have Kepler, and you have...
One of them said it was flat.
Yeah. There was a whole bunch in that early time, that 16th, 17th century, that were thinking about it. But no, every basis of human origin intersects with religion. And in those religions had, you know what I mean? From a strictly historical point of view, I'm not talking about text or anything like that, in that intersection. You know, they had that the Earth was the center.
Why am
for whatever reason, we've moved away.